Hello, friends. Welcome to Cricket Caviar. Australia has convincingly beaten New Zealand by 172 runs. It was exactly the same amount of runs that Cameron Green piled up in the first innings, and it was 116 of them were added with Josh Hazelwood for the 10th wicket, and that was just something that New Zealand would have felt like swallowing their own vomit. What is the equation between Australia and New Zealand, and why it happens so that New Zealand, who is a uh, formidable force in Test cricket, they have won the WTC finals, and they suddenly crack under pressure when they face Australia. They make all the bad decisions. It's been 1993 since they won a home test versus Australia. That was the times when Danny Morrison was the man of the match, and Ken Rutherford was one of the man of the match. I mean, both got the joint man of the match. So it's been that long at Eden Park in 1993, and after that there has been just one win. That was also a close win in Hobart, but not at New Zealand. And everything was favored towards New Zealand. If you see this test match, how it went, first of all, Basin Reserve, Wellington. Now, this is a venue which is a traditional test cricket venue in New Zealand, probably the only traditional test cricket venue in New Zealand which has survived everything. It has survived earthquakes, it has survived wars, it has survived everything. And this was New Zealand's home ground, it's like the Lords for England. It's like the holy mecca of New Zealand cricket, the Basin Reserve. It's also called the Swamp. It's windy. It supports medium paces, and it was green as well on the morning of first day. And New Zealand Kiwis, the Black Caps, they win the toss. They win the toss. They put Australia into bat. Now that's a big advantage to New Zealand because the pitch was supposed to swing, and it did swing. If you see Matt Henry's ball to Usman Khwaja, that did swing a lot, but somehow I don't know what happened there. We'll have to analyze this a lot on the first day because somehow Australia survives that first session. They collapse a little bit in the second session, but it's Mitchell Marsh plays a counter-attacking knock, and after Mitchell Marsh gets out, everyone just tries to smash New Zealand. I mean, Cam Green at the end goes 50 to 146 balls. That was amazing. I was just seeing Cameron Green's innings flow, and he was at one point of time he was 39 of 90 balls, something like that. And in the next 39 of 100 balls actually, and in the next 125 balls he has just demolished I mean, the New Zealand, the Kiwi attack to bits and pieces. I mean, he scored some 140 in 125 balls, something like that. So it was just incredible what happened there. First of all, Australian middle order was shaky, and it was perfect for New Zealand to win the toss, to get to bowl at the Aussies. And first of all comes the selection blunder. I mean, how can you do it twice, New Zealand? You just put the curse on yourself. You just put the curse on yourself again. I mean, what happened against South Africa was in the first test. Of course, we saw Neil Brand picking up 6 wickets, the captain, the stand-in captain for South Africa, and South Africa had not picked a pacer as a off spinner there. They had not picked any spinners. Neil Brand was actually a part-time spinner. And the next test they pick Dane Piet, and he takes a fifer. And suddenly New Zealand, after the test match ends, somehow they win it because Kane Williamson scores a brilliant fourth innings 100. And they win that test match, but it was not an easy chase because they had to chase 267 runs or to win that test match. And after the test match, Gary Stead and Tim Southey, the team management, the captain and coach of Black Caps, they just come out and say, yeah, we probably missed Santner. We made a wrong decision. So now what we are going to do is we are going to drop Neil Wagner, who's been a faithful and unconditional servant of New Zealand cricket, bowling without fitness, bowling with broken toes on day 5 barren pitches of New Zealand, which are good for batting, which become batting paradise on day 4 and 5, actually, New Zealand pitches. And he's been bowling with that unusual, unconventional field where everyone is on the boundary and he's just sending the barrage of short pitch deliveries. And he is now no more part of our plans for this test series. So, yeah, he's just going to be there for the first test and then we are going to release him. And they make all the drama. They allow Neil Wagner to hold a press conference, and he gets emotional talking about all the great wins that he has delivered for New Zealand, including the WTC finals. And it makes you think, okay, now Santner is going to play. Coming back to the entire story now, Santner is going to play definitely. But when you see the lineup, New Zealand has chosen to bowl first, and it's all four pacers, and the fourth pacer name is Scott Kugeline. Of course, Will O'Rourke performed really well versus South Africa. He picked 9 wickets, so he was the one who was going to replace Neil Wagner. But now you had Scott Kugeline also coming in. Now, Scott Kugeline did bowl well. I'm not saying he didn't bowl well. He only bowled 3 overs in the second Australian innings. So, anyway, Australia collapsed for 164 there. But what I'm not able to understand is why you didn't pick a spinner when you have seen all the previous pitches at Mount Maunganui and Eden Park. They actually turned a lot. So I didn't understand why they didn't pick Santner, and they just did it 2 tests in a row. They picked Santner at Mount Maunganui and won easily there. And spinners actually took some 17 of the 34 wickets that fell at Mount Maunganui, and then they come to the other venue. I'm just missing out on the name. I think it was Auckland, the second test. Yeah. And there, no, it was Hamilton. Hamilton was the second venue, and there they dropped Santner again. I don't know what happened there, but Dane Peart picks a fifer, and it was a struggle for New Zealand to win this game. It was just Kane Williamson's brilliant form. And now, coming to Kane Williamson, now, of course, we have talked about the first innings. I was thinking that either Travis Head or Mitch Marsh would, because these are the only persons who are getting Australia out of jail. Although Travis Head has been a failure this summer because he's got 100, and that 100 was also critical. Let me not joke about that. That was a critical 100. People are forgetting it because people are only saying David Warner is the only batsman to score 100 in this summer, in this Australian summer. But yeah, Travis Head also got 100 against West Indies. So after that, the way it happened is New Zealand then crumbled to 29 for 5. And that was again shocking. Like, on a pitch that was supposed to improve, how did New Zealand crumble to 29 for 5? And the most important thing was Kane Williamson's run out, because that moment just signifies how Australia make New Zealand choke under pressure. If you see, even the match in the World Cup, it seemed like Rachin Ravindra would run away with the chase. They were in such a great position there, and they just choked at the end. Jimmy Neesham tried his best, but yeah, they did choke. And if you see Kane Williamson's normal playing style, when he plays those innings, he was coming with a form of scoring 700s in some 8 test matches or something like that, and he has scored some 500s in last 6 matches. So he's coming from a great form, and he normally takes his time, normally plays dot balls. But what happened there was Mitchell Starc was bowling really well, and he just wanted to take that single, which was non-existent. I mean, he just collided. Look at the brain freeze that happens to New Zealand when they play Australia. I mean, that was just incredible symbolic moment in the Australia-New Zealand rivalry. Like Kane Williamson, he's been criticized. I saw a war of words between Virat fans and Kane Williamson fans. Like, he's a minnow basher, and his 100 against South Africa was against a weak team. He scores a lot of hundreds at home. So all these points are there. Even with someone like a guy with 3300s, he's the question mark on him is just unbelievable. And again, we see on a big moment, uh, Kane Williamson just freezed and clashed with Will Young, and there has to be some blame on Mitchell Stark because he was standing in the way. He was bowling over the wicket and he tried to stop the ball, but it was very half-hearted. He just went and stood there. And if you see, that was a quick, tight single. I mean, it was a tight single, and they couldn't have run around Mitchell Stark. They had to somehow see the ball, see the partner, see Mitchell Stark. A lot of things had to go correct in order to get that single correct. And Manas Labuschagne, obviously with the direct hit. And from there onwards, New Zealand then fell to 29 for 5. There was a bit of a fight from Glenn Phillips and Tom Blundell, but again we saw Nathan Lyon picking up 4 wickets in the first innings, and after the 2 days, Australia were totally dominant, and even Nathan Lyon got dropped by Tim Southee, who's one of the best third slip fielders, and morning starts at day 3, and you feel like Australia are on top, and even Nathan Lyon goes on scoring. The score goes past 50, and you're thinking, no way that New Zealand is going to get back here. But Australia somehow have this collapse ability in their middle order. They again just collapse. They think they are too far ahead of the game. They get complacent. They somehow collapse again to 164 and leave the door open for New Zealand. And New Zealand, after that moment, should have just capitalized on that. And normally New Zealand do like what South Africa did. South Africa, if you see that match also, it was similar story. South Africa had the lead, but they were actually going to set up a big total, but the last 6 wickets fell for 36 runs, and it gave a target of 268 only. So like South Africa were in that position of 232 for 4. At that moment, New Zealand actually managed to choke South Africa and come back against an inexperienced South Africa. But here again, they must have missed Santner because Phillips took a fifer, and when it automatically gives an encouragement to Nathan Lyon, because when he sees that Glenn Phillips is just running riot on this pitch, he must have got that confidence. And even though like Rachin and Mitchell had a good stand there, and again Kane Williamson was a bit late on Nathan Lyon ball, and Nathan Lyon again won the key battle versus Williamson. I felt if Williamson was there at the end of day 3's play, I think New Zealand would have a very good chance. But yeah, they needed to score around 260 runs on the last day, and again that collapse was again unbelievable, like what happened there. uh, I mean, the Mitchell stood through, but the delivery to Rachin was so well planned. Just Nathan Lyon just allowing him to take all the risks to hit him through the point, through the covers, and Rachin was doing that continuously. And finally, he just waited and waited and waited for the moment when Rachin hits one in the air, and it was grabbed by uh, one of the fielders. And then Cameron Green takes the wicket. So Cameron Green ends the test very well and seals the Man of the Match award. But Nathan Lyon, most importantly, has a fifer now in New Zealand that completes his Seni set. Now, why I'm saying Seni set is because South Africa, England, New Zealand, and India, all 4 major powerhouses of Test cricket, he has a fifer everywhere. He has fifer in 9 countries, and some would argue he's the best off spinner of this era, even though his average is more than Ravichandran Ashwin. Ravichandran Ashwin has bowled India to so many victories, but his performance away is always questioned. Somehow he finds himself out of the 11 also in those test matches, the key away test matches, for example, the World Test Championship final. And I mean, that's a little bit sad because Ravichandran Ashwin has not been part of the 11 in the last WTC. final. And Ravichandran Ashwin is a different type of bowler from Nathan Lyon. So I don't think that comparisons will happen. But Ravichandran Ashwin has a lot of variations, a lot of other skills. He's a better cricketer overall. Um, in terms of reading the game, reading the batsman, batting well. So he's a better cricketer overall. He has done it in all formats, which Nathan Lyon has not done. Nathan Lyon only sticks to Test cricket. So we have to understand those points and then make our judgments. But till now, Nathan Lyon as a Test bowler, only as a Test off spinner, is greater than probably Ravichandran Ashwin. And Ravichandran Ashwin as a cricketer, as an all-round cricketer, maybe he's just better than Nathan Lyon. So Nathan Lyon gets the win for Australia in New Zealand, and again Cameron Green is the man of the match, and just like Joe Burns and Adam Wojcik were man of the match, we had an unusual contender for man of the match. But Steve Smith not batting in that middle order certainly makes Australian batting order looks weak. But the other argument is who are the guys who are scoring versus Australia? No one. They are still winning test matches, and they have won 5 test matches out of the last 6 test matches. And if you go back, they have won the WTC final. They won 1 test in India. They won 2 test matches in England. So as far as Australia is concerned, they will not be bothered at all by the lack of form at middle order and the weakness of the middle order, the vulnerability of the middle order. They will not be concerned by that. So yeah, that's it from my end. And what do you guys have to say? Please subscribe our channel for more cricket content. What's your opinion on the Australia versus New Zealand test? Let me know. Can New Zealand make a comeback? That's going to be interesting. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye.